Good afternoon. This is Toyin Yumesiri. How are you today? So, a while ago, I did a poll, a survey, asking people what type of content they want to see more of, right? Because I know people follow for different reasons, right? So, entrepreneurship was one of those things that came up. And because I actually teach it in my private practice, I've decided that I'll be sharing a little bit more. So Trade with Africa was one, entrepreneurship was another, and then personal development goals and all of those things. So I'll find incredible ways to share a lot more, because a lot of the things I do privately, I realize that many people do not know. So anyway, so today I want to talk about how well do you know your customers, and more along the lines of mindset of an entrepreneur. So that's a new series. You'll be hearing me talk about mindset of an entrepreneur, and then maybe I'll dive deeper into some of the frameworks that I use. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. If you're joining and you're live, please drop a comment. Let me know where you're joining from. And also, if you have any questions, please do drop it. So, a little bit about me. Like, why am I qualified to talk about this? I actually served in corporate. I've been a certified SAP consultant since 2006. And along that line, really, I think in terms of systems, processes, having deployed some of the most, incredibly sophisticated solutions in the world, from procurement systems, manufacturing systems, financial controlling systems. Like, I've been around the block, right? ASNs, advanced shipping notices, EDIs, all of those things. So that's really my background, right? I have a master's in information systems. So how do you use technology to run your business? So again, I always think in terms of systems. I always think in terms of optimization. I think in terms of processes, in terms of stakeholders, requirement gathering, all of those things. That's the world I lived in. So when I became an entrepreneur, just like everybody, right? I rushed in. Like, passion, passion pushed me. Like, I think passion is good. Passion gets you to start. But what I like to say now is the passion we have for our business is not a replacement for skills, experience, and expertise. So today I want to talk about expertise, right? Because you start out with passion, and then you realize, whoa, how do you sustain this? How do you actually build a sustainable business? So what I've done using my background in systems optimization, because I pretty much had to study. I read a lot, I study, because one of the things I say is that I'm not the only one. People have figured these things out. What are the resources out there? And out of my own study and experience, being an entrepreneur, I've designed processes, 6-step process that I now use in my private practice and in my coaching practice as well. So I'll be sharing some of that today. Again, if you're joining live, drop a comment. Let me see who is live, and let me know where you're joining from. I also want to make sure this actually pushed, right? Because I've been switching technology things around. Let me just make sure. Okay, I think we're live. Awesome. So basically, today I want to talk about customers. On how well do you know your customers? So this is like step 2 and step 3. So I have a 6-step process I run my clients through. And what I'm talking about today is around step 2, step 3, right? Which is more of being laser focused on your customers, right? Applying empathy, and more of understanding who they are. And usually, if I'm on a whiteboard, I can draw things out. And in my courses, you can see me drawing and describing what I'm about to talk about. So businesses exist to serve people, pretty much. Like, nobody cares about doing, like, right? You care about yourself, and I care about you, right? So we have to care about the people we hope to serve, whether it's our clients and our customers, and being laser focused. The more we know about them, right, the more we can empathize with their needs, understand where they are, their journey, right? That's the best way to actually build a solution for them, because your business and your service or your product is really a solution delivered to your end customers and your clients, right? So they are the consumers of whatever it is we're creating, right? So whether it's my service, consulting service, or my coaching service, right, it's not really about me. It's about bringing a solution that helps you on your own journey, that moves you closer to achieving your own goals, right? So that's what I mean by being laser focused on the people we hope to serve, making sure that we see it as a service delivery, meaning that until our customers or the market, right, agrees with us, everything we are doing is just theoretical. And that's why I talk about optimization a lot when I host like webinars or master classes, is because you may have a great solution, but your messaging may be totally like wrong, right? You may not be articulating your solution in the right way. So your messaging may need to be optimized. I've also found that sometimes your messaging is like crystal clear, amazing. But when people try out your product or your service, it's like, no, not impressive. In that case, you may need to refine and get a better product in place or your service, right? The other thing, which is my step 5, is around business model. A lot of times, step 4, step 5 is around business model. How do you get paid? Many people out here, you're doing meaningful work, you're adding value, all of that. And I face that as well, which is why it's part of the solution I now offer, right? Your business model, what are the best ways to design solutions that you get paid for bringing value, right? So, let me stay on today's topic, which is how well do you know your customer? You really want to write out, your type, your people talk about ideal clients or ideal customers, right? I say the people you hope to serve. Who are the people you want to serve? There's also something I do when you're thinking about business model, right? Is we cannot serve everybody, particularly if you want to commercialize all of this, meaning you have commercial interest in the work you're doing. So one of the metrics I use doing business model is understanding. This is really helping people with the mindset that there's a matrix where some people want your product, but they cannot afford it. Some people cannot afford it, right? So some people want it, they cannot afford. Some people cannot afford, they don't want it. Some people want it, they cannot afford. I think I said that already. But the people you really want to go after in your marketing are people that can afford you and people who want it, right? Because there are some who can afford and they do not want it. So there's a 4 quadrant. Think about affordability, the desire of people to acquire your products, and then people that really want it, but they unfortunately, you're out of their range. There's different things you can do, right? There are different things you can do to still support them. If you're someone like me, I still invest a lot in supporting those people. So let me back. I have to really stay within. Usually, when I'm coaching people, we go through all of those processes. But today, I really want to stay clear on how well do you know a customer? So understanding their pain points, understanding their fears, understanding their aspirations. So for example, the luxury world really is built around aspirations. How I want to look, how I want to be perceived in the society, how I want to smell, perfumes. So luxury is not really like people going hungry, like people really having a hunger, but it's a taste, it's an aspiration we have in terms of luxury clothing, how we want to be, who we want to be, right? So it's luxury is usually designed, high-end products are designed around that, right? And but for others, right, you have to design around people's needs, right? So for example, as a coach, maybe you want to, for me, right, I know people are struggling in terms of they're attempting 1 year, 2 years, they've been investing a lot in their coaching practices or even their business, and it's not moving as fast. So if you want to fast track that, those are the things I help do, like in record time, bringing my expertise, my knowledge base. We're able to re-engineer what it is you're doing, and at the end you're like, here's your business, right? Because a lot of times, people, again, I've been there. I've been there. That's why I understand this pain super good, right? It's that again, the passion we have is not a replacement for, lack of skill, lack of experience, because sometimes people talk about business plan, and I say business plan is fantastic, but just like a building plan is not a building, a business plan is not a business. Somebody still has to translate that plan into an actual business, and the skill you use to apply would really reflect whether your business stands the test of time. Just like a building, you give a building to the wrong hands without experience, it's going to be like, right? So that's what I say, is that this is really important, because I'm seeing a lot of community members struggle. And because for us, even when I talk about international trade is built on fundamental business frameworks, right? So even for you to fly and say, oh, I want to export, I want to do all of those things, I'm realizing that people are not strengthening their entrepreneurship like foundation. So that's what led me into this space, to start building programs, so that we can at least say, start where you are, you know, make sure you're building your foundation strong, so that when you want to add on and expand internationally, you're better prepared. But you may not end up expanding, but you can still grow in your local market, right? So clarity. Okay, I see more people joining. John from Nigeria, Duncan from Cameroon, Andre White from the UK, Peter, how are you? You're here in the US, right? Where are you joining from? So awesome. So today, how well do you know your customer? Again, is step two. I'm going to combine step two, step three. So step two is around customer profiles, creating the customer profile. Who do you want to serve? Having a clear cut of who they are. So for example, at Nazaru, we serve three categories of clients or customers, right? And what we do for each of those category is different, completely different. So for me, I know how to handle, like I shared at the beginning, having been an SAP consultant, there's some, I think I go overboard. I know how to I take on a lot because of the capacity. So you also, in fact, my first step when I engage and coach people is step one, is all about their capacity, SWOT analysis, right? Understanding where they're starting from. So I actually do a lot of that. So you have to, before you embark on, I want to build a skyscraper, right? We want to see, do you have a capacity or resource? If you can't do it by yourself, do you have the resources to hire the right people, the right talent to build that skyscraper? Because otherwise, it's still fantasy at the end of the day, and reality has to set in eventually. Like, right. So for me, I came into this space with incredible capacity, multi-year projects, really. But I also had to learn, right? I have tons of. Let me. Maybe I'll do some book recommendations if you want to study. Yeah. So for me, I always say, if you follow me, you might get a PhD eventually. So let me do a couple of recommendations. So this is a book, Business Model Generation. So I'm very, like I said, systems optimization. That's really my background. So for me, I've applied the same thing to entrepreneurship, right? It's not just passion, fantastic, but you have to have skill set. There is a skill, there is a way to build a business. Just like if you want to build a car, you know it needs four wheels. You need to know who you're serving. You need to have a solid business model. You need to have value proposition, your marketing plan, your sales plan. Those are the things. So I now have a framework that I use in my private practice, because again, this has to be repeatable, right? You have to, the way you scale your business and build wealth is you figure out your minimum viable product, you deliver it, you test it out, you optimize it, and then you start growing it. And it takes time, right? You use systems, all of that. So I know I'm sharing a lot, but again, I want to stay on today's topic. How well do you know your customers? I'm training myself to just stay on topic. Okay. So this is a book I recommend, Business Model Generation. And then there's a sister by the same authors. I love these books. Value Proposition Design. I love it. And then on the other side is a bad, bad value proposition. So I recommend these two books. It gets quite, it's a lot of technicalities. You may not so that's where the struggle is for people, is that there's a lot of technical lingo, technical drawing, because I also have a background in design thinking. See, I'm letting my business, I hope the TMI, too much information. I'm putting all my business out there. So I've been trained in design thinking. So if you know design thinking, you understand, you're going to appreciate these types of drawing, right? So that this is the world, this is behind the scene of Nazaru. This is what Toyin does, because a lot of times people see, oh, Nazaru trade with Africa, and they're like, wow, when did you start? You're going so fast. It's because I'm applying business optimization. Anyway, so what I found is that these books are advanced. So if you don't have that appetite for those type of things, right, it may be too much. It's an overkill. because it's a lot. You have to have the mind and brain for consuming. My first degree is mathematics. So again, I'm putting my business out there. I'm putting everything out there. BSc mathematics, MSc information systems. Okay, let's come back to today. So what I did was, I haven't studied it all. I now designed my own 6 step because I realized people go all over the place. So I now have a systemized like flow of step one, step two, step three, step four, step five, step six, and I keep optimizing it to get it better as I use it, getting feedback. It works, and then that's what I do. So Toyin just took you behind the scene, right? Okay. So being clear of your stakeholders, and one of your stakeholders is your customer. What are their pain points? Like in one-on-ones, I actually will write it out because you're going to use all of that in your marketing, right? That's where you get the right words you're going to put on your website. Because there's nothing worse than having a website that is made for you. Like, I do this, I do that. Who cares about who you, right? But the language on your website has to convert, and it has to mean something to your customer. So that's why in my processes, we actually go deep dive. And then when we extract the right language, like what are their pain points, you can then use it in your marketing lingo. Like, are you doing this? Are you doing that? If so, contact us, right? This thing is it's a science project, right? You want to optimize your messaging to them really based on your deep understanding of their pain points, of their fears, of their aspirations, meaning what are they trying to achieve. So for example, the foundational entrepreneurship. So I teach 3 classes: entrepreneurship, export, trade and investment facilitation. Trade and investment is for government relations, investor relations, right? And then export is for those who want to export. At the foundation, at the base, is entrepreneurship. Okay. So what I found is that entrepreneurs struggle with optimization or improving on their processes, or even a lot of people don't even have processes like I'm talking about. Why? They are involved in activities, but they've not built the right structure and intake process and marketing process or sales process for themselves, right? They're doing what everybody's doing, but they don't have a strategy to tell them, why are you doing that? Does it really make sense for your sector, for the people you're trying to serve? So, for example, at Nazao, like I was saying before, we served 3 groups of people. At the highest level of those we serve are what I call the penthouse people. If you've watched me, you've heard me say this before, like executives, government, policy leaders, right? Top of the house. What we do for them looks different. How we engage them looks different. The services and the things we do for them, because their needs are different. Then middle managers or decision makers at the middle, meaning buyers, all of that. What we do for them is different. How we engage them is different. And then, like small businesses also fall. So large businesses sits at the top as well. Fortune 500 companies, CEOs, we engage with them at a certain level. When I'm hosting events, they're usually our speakers and all of that. So anyway, so we have clarity in terms of who they are, how we can engage with them, um, how we can partner, all of that. The middle as well, we have programs for them, connections, all of those things. And then at the base of the pyramid, really, are what I would call struggling entrepreneurs who want to move up to the next level. And we have a lot of solutions for them, all of that, right? But what we offer them looks different. Like the middle would likely attend my events because they want to get closer to executives, right? So they want access to the government officials. So the people in the middle, what they need really, a lot of times, maybe SMEs, their connections, right? Because they may already have experience having run businesses for say 15, 20 years. So their businesses are already successful. So what they want is really getting close to certain key stakeholders, right? But the people at the base, they are not ready. I'll be honest with you, they are not ready. They're not ready. So how do we help them get ready? So my courses, my programs, my coaching really is helping people get ready because we all have aspirations. I tell you, and your aspiration is valid. Our aspirations are valid, right? But I want to become a doctor. What do I need to become a doctor? 2 different things. We have aspirations, but the question is, what do I need to do to get closer to my aspirations, right? So as entrepreneurs, what we're doing is helping our customers or clients to achieve their goals. So at the end of the day, it's not really about me, right? if I'm not adding value, if my services do not add value to you, you move on to the next person. But people come to us for, because we're adding value, we're contributing, right? So that's what I want to say. The mindset of an entrepreneur, you need to understand who you want to serve. You need to understand what journey they're on, what are their aspirations, right? And then finally, looking at time, finally, what I want to say as well is when I teach this particular space, one thing that I also use that helps people really grasp it is what I'm about to say right now. So if you don't even remember anything I said before, remember what I'm about to say now. Think of yourself as a pharmaceutical company, Pfizer, whatever, right? Think of yourself, if you're an entrepreneur, as the Pfizer, right? And it may take years of research to come up with one drug, one service, one product. But guess what? The efficacy of your drug, it has to work, and it has to be targeted to a disease or a pain point. Think about this again. You are Pfizer, years of research of developing your product, whether it's lipstick, yay, I have lipstick. It takes time to do all of these things, right? Yay, I have services, I can do ABC. It took time to design my, remember my book. It took time to study. It took time to figure out what, first of all, I solved this for myself. Okay. Like I'm building Nazaru, right? We can't just say Nazaru. But Nazaru has to mean something for people, right? When I say trade, and I have various brands that I manage, right? So Trade with Africa Network, Trade with Africa Summit, AFCFT Roundtable. It has to mean something. Nobody is coming to. I know people say you're not coming to see my face. You're coming to achieve your own goals. So along that line, in a very humbling way, have had to design solutions for you. So solving this first for myself, and now also helping other people to solve it. So again, think of yourself as a pharmaceutical company. Your goal is to design a service or a product that addresses a specific need, that removes the pain, right? So there's a disease or something people are facing. Your product or your service has to match. And guess what? The patient has to say, oh, that was a big relief. Oh, Toyin, that's what I needed to hear. Oh, Toyin, you've changed my mind about this. Oh, Toyin, you solved this for me. Oh, wow, that strategy you gave me was exactly what I needed. Now I have direction. Now I know what I need to do, right? Those are the feedbacks, right, that you want to hear. Because if you test your medication or your vaccine and it doesn't work, go back to the drawing board and figure it out. So that's why I said this is the way I try to make people see that your solution must address a concern, and your patients in a way must agree when they taste it or when they try it out that it actually targets and addresses what it is it addresses, right? Also think of yourself as a medical doctor prescribing that medication every single day, right? But it does take years to really get close to your customer. So the question is, how well do you know your customer? That's my question for today. Have you gotten close to them? Have you listened to them? Do you know what they're going through? Looking at the way the world is right now, COVID, all of that, people are really struggling, right? Are you applying empathy? And does your solution get them closer to where they're going? Does your service, inspire them to keep moving forward? What do you have to be contributing something, right, for people to pay you for it? So for me, the coaching practice was developed. I never knew I was going to be a coach, right? But once you figure all these things out, one of my friends said, Tony, it's going to be a crime if you don't share it. I'm like, okay, we have to package it in such a way. So it is a commercial um, function right now. So we operate four pillars. So one of the pillar is training, capacity building and coaching, right? And then we have events and all of those things. So I had to develop this practice because there's a huge need. Because when people come to us and I see, when I confront some of the things they're doing and I ask some basic question and I see that they're struggling, I'm like, okay, this has to be almost, I have to just bring this together because the knowledge I have is something that the community seriously need. So I have courses, and then I've launched the entrepreneurship academy and all of that. So that's really how I show up. Again, with my background, it's always understanding your clients, understanding your customers, knowing their journey. And then, if you have within yourself a solution that can help them, then how do you package it? How do you build a business model, right? So all the things I'm talking about, it's not about charity, right? So this is a commercial venture, this is a business. But in order for you to build a business, you need to also know your customers, right? So again, that's it in the wrap. I want to keep this short, but I know I usually pack a punch in a moment, right? So reach out if you do need that level of deep dive, either one-on-one or you want to take any of my courses. Again, I have 6 steps I just shared today, parts of step 2, a little bit of step 3, because there's also value proposition, all of those things, business model, all of that. But I start from 1 and in a systematic way. So for me, it has to be logical. Like all of these things has to be repeatable, right? So when the market changes, if you have the skill set to fish, you can keep on fishing, right? But if you don't have the skills, you're going to struggle. So for me, I want to empower people to get the skills so that anything you need to do, you can apply this. So that's why for me, I know one of my friends said, Toy, we're always seeing you doing one thing or the other, right? It's easy for me to launch new products, new services, new brands because there's a framework that I use. So that's another secret is that I'm constantly launching something, masterclasses, workshops, events, brands, products. Yeah, constantly. Why? Because it's repeatable. These frameworks are repeatable. Once you understand the framework, then you can adjust your business, you can optimize. I can wake up to so tomorrow I can wake up and I say I want to do something else. There's a framework, I'll take it through. Next year, whatever God wants me to do, I can, yeah. So anyway, that's why these frameworks are important. So if you're interested and you want to know more, learn more, and you want my help to guide you to be your coach, happy to. Like right now, you can find Toy in a moment, some months, you'll be like, no, Toy is not available. Go and buy a book or go and, anyway, that's what this is going. That's where I'm going, right? Because I'm also, for me, entrepreneurship is a lifestyle. So there is a lifestyle I want to live, and everything I'm doing today, like it looks like crazy, right? A lot of intensities because I'm building that lifestyle. Because eventually, I'll be like, my assistant will be like, no, Toy is not available, but if you're interested, go and buy that, right? Anyway, thank you so much. I hope this has been. I also want to make sure this is fun. So the video will be out here, and let me know if this helped you. Let me know which of the things I shared today really connect that resonates with you. Why? Because I'm learning as well. I'm learning to listen. So the feedback you give me is going to allow me to always improve on my shows. Many people will say, Tony, you're so good. I'm like, yeah, because when people give me feedback, I implement it, I get better. I remember maybe 2 or 3 years ago, the very first few videos that I was doing, I actually had someone that was, I think that person was a godsend because the person would say, Toyin, we can't hear you. Go and change your microphone. I'll be like, okay, thank you. And then the following week, I'll fix that. Then the following week, the person would say, Toyin, your lighting is poor. Go and get lighting. Now I have great lighting. So that's what I mean is I need feedback. Tell me what I can share more that would help you. Like I said, the reason I'm starting, launching this mindset of an entrepreneur is because the poll I put out there and the question, I asked, people want to know more about entrepreneurship. And because I teach it, I'm actually teaching some executive classes as well at a business school. But yeah, happy to share. God bless you all again. If you have the appetite to become a PhD in solution design, go get this book. Bad value proposition design, value proposition design. And then I love this one as well. Business model. And what does it say here? Your a handbook for visionaries, game changers, challengers, striving to defy outmoded business models and design tomorrow's enterprises. And that's what we are doing at Nazaru. Great book. Go find them. It's very, very like design thinking type thing, right? Like see, very good stuff. Very, very great stuff. I love it. I should read it again actually. I get better every day. Okay, Mr. Peter, Andre, John, thank you so much for watching. And if you're team replay, drop a comment as well. That's it. It's a wrap. I give myself 30 minutes to do this. And that's it. I'm on time. Talk to you later. Bye.